Hey, what's going on, guys? Today is going to be my final mock draft before the 2022 NFL draft. I felt like I've done an efficient job at giving some light onto teams moving throughout the draft prospects moving up and down, and the draft is 4 days out. I'm recording this Sunday, and the draft will be on Thursday, the 20. I think it's the 28th. It starts, and then it goes through the 29th to the Saturday. And I'm going to be doing a ton of videos on that draft. But as of now, this will be the final mock draft, and this is a 2-round mock draft. So starting it off, I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson. I think that he's going to be the first overall pick. He's the best player in this draft, and I haven't really moved on from that decision for a while. With number 2, I'm going to go with Sauce Gardner. The Giants picked Jeff Okudah at number 3 overall in the 2020 class. That draft pick has not worked out at all. And they do have Amani Oruwariye, who is a ball hawk, who's really good. But I still think that cornerback is always a need, especially in their division with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and it would have been Devontae Adams, but that would be a massive help for the secondary, and I'm less confident that they're going to go with Malik Willis than I was maybe a few mock drafts ago. The Texans, I'm going to be honest, I do think that Trayvon Walker is going to be picked before Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he's either going to be picked at 1, he's either going to be picked at 2, or picked at 3. And I say this because teams just seem to like him. The inner circles and the media, they seem to like his upside as a run defender. Now, I think he's a really good run defender, and I would say his comp for me is Jadeveon Clowney, but Jadeveon Clowney, even though he was a Pro Bowler in the NFL, he didn't live up to that number 1 overall pick mantra or that hype. Anyways, I still think Trayvon Walker's run defending ability and presence is there, especially in the run game. But for a pass rusher, he is not that guy. His upside is less than Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau, and even Jermaine Johnson to that ability. But anyways, the Jets at 4, I'm going to go with Kayvon Thibodeau. The Jets have been looking for edge for a while, and with this addition, the Jets get their pass rushing need out of the way, and I think that Kayvon Thibodeau is the second best edge rusher, and he was my 3rd best player, I'm pretty sure, in my top 50. He's a top 5 player. I don't see him slipping out of the top 5. He either goes to the Jets or the Giants. Now with the Giants up with the first pick, I see them going with the best offensive tackle available. And I had that as Ike Mekwonu, but I think we're going to go with Evan Neal. Best or second best in the pass game. Probably the best offensive lineman against the bull rush. I highlighted that in my Trayvon Walker video. And the Giants desperately need offensive line. Daniel Jones is going to get killed if he doesn't. And I don't know what they're going to do with Kadarius Toney. There's rumors that they're going to trade him. There's rumors they're going to trade James Bradbury. We're not in a great place financially. So that's just the thing. Maybe he gets traded on draft day if they want to trade up to like 2. Anyways, the what am I talking about? The Panthers at 6. This is a quarterback. It is Malik Willis. Sam Darnold is a cut candidate. He's not that guy. He's not going to be quarterback 1. And if they want to restart that offense, or if they want to restart that franchise, they have to get a quarterback. And I don't even think Matt Rule is going to be here for the long term. He's proven to be not a good coach. He was kind of like that. I don't want to say Adam Gase because Adam Gase wasn't a college coach, but he's that big-time college coach that doesn't translate to the NFL. Anyways, The Giants at 7. I would like to say that this is the BPA pick, and I don't know what the draft board is going to look like, because this has been probably the hardest draft to mock for probably 3 years now, just because the quarterbacks have been so bad. Not bad, but relatively they've been worse than the other quarterback classes. So there are no guarantee selections like last year. The top 3 were going to be quarterbacks. So I don't know who will be available here, but the best player available right now is Ikumekwanu, and then it would be Jermaine Johnson. But they already took offensive tackle, so I can see them going Jermaine Johnson. And if also Sauce Gardner falls to 7 or 5, I see them going with secondary offensive lineman or edge rusher. The Falcons at 8, I've been taking receiver, and I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is projected a top 3 receiver in the class. I would say the top 3 is Drake London, Jameson Williams, and him. And route running ability, 50-50 ball catch, 50-50 ability, kind of projects like Odell Beckham Jr. So the Falcons desperately need a receiver. Calvin Ridley is out for the year. They lost Russell Gage. They have no Julio Jones. And they lost Matt Ryan as well. The Seahawks at 9. I don't think that they should take offensive tackle. Or no, excuse me. I don't think that they should take quarterback, just because this quarterback class is weaker, and I think that next year class is a little bit better. We see just Stroud and Bryce Young. Anyways, I see them going with best offensive tackle available. They lost Dwayne Brown. I'm going to go with Ikumekwanu at 9, who I don't think lasts until this, but in my mock draft, he will. Jets at 10. I don't see offensive tackle as big as a need as they do. Mekhi Becton. I know he didn't show up to voluntary camp, but he has a kid on the way. His wife is 8 months pregnant. He's still rehabbing. I wouldn't stress about Mekhi Becton at all until probably next season. I wouldn't even think about drafting a offensive tackle within the top maybe two rounds. I think that they probably could go with a swing tackle in the 3rd round. But anyways, we're going to focus on the 10th overall pick. And I would go with, if the Jets don't trade for Deebo Samuel, which they are the favorites to, I think they should take Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams has the best deep threat ability, and he has that route running ability. He is such a similar build to Devontae Smith. He runs almost the same time. He has the same slender build, but he doesn't have that route running ability, or that like elite 1 out of 1 route running ability that Devontae Adams had. But Jameson Williams is the best deep threat in this draft. But focusing on Deebo Samuel, if they don't trade for him with the 10th overall pick, I see them taking Jameson Williams, or taking maybe another receiver like Drake London, just to get size in there. But the Jets could trade 2 seconds and a 3rd, which would be the same exact value as the 10th overall pick. Moving on to the Washington Commanders, I see them taking best cornerback or receiver available, but I would go with receiver. I would go with the best receiver available, Drake London. The Vikings, I've been picking secondary basically all year, and I'm going to stick with that, going with Derek Stingley. The Texans, their needs are basically best player available, and that's going to be Kyle Hamilton. I see him falling in the draft a little bit more. Safeties just end up doing that. Minka Fitzpatrick, on the Chargers, Derwin James. Like, these elite safeties will fall, and the Ravens are on the board. Turns out that their biggest probably need, interior defensive tackle, is on the board, so we're going to go with that. Eagles traded with the Saints. They traded the 16th pick for a future pick, which I thought was a very good trade for them. They lengthened their ability to move around in the draft until next year. But I think that they were set with the two picks that they had. I really liked what they were going. And I I don't see as many mock drafts going with them with receiver as much as I think that they should do. And I would go with Chris Olave, very similar to Garrett Wilson in his ability. And the Saints are at 16, and I would see them probably again going with offensive tackle or receiver. And they lost, I think their biggest need probably right now is receiver. But if Charles Cross falls to 16, you have to take him. You lost the tackle to the Dolphins, blanking on his name, but that becomes a need. The Chargers at 17, gonna go with best offensive tackle available, or it could have been best interior defensive lineman. Could have been Deontay Wyatt. If they want to, they can go with either route. The Eagles back up. This has to be the best cornerback available, Trent McDuffie. At 19, their backup best receiver available. We're gonna go with Treylon Burks. And the Steelers are going to be an interesting pick because they could definitely go with Desmond Ridder or Kenny Pickett. I don't think that Desmond Ridder does go in the first round though, unless it's a late pick. But the fact is, their offensive line isn't strong enough for me to be comfortable having Najee Harris run over like 300 attempts, because I don't think he's going to average that many efficiency yards, like yards per carry, yards averaged, yards after contact, or not yards after contact, yards in the second level. I'm not confident with that offensive line to support that. So I would go with Zion Johnson, probably the most versatile offensive tackle or offensive lineman in this class. He could play basically all five, including center. And versatility is becoming such an important thing for offensive linemen nowadays. The Patriots at 21, I've been taking linebacker or cornerback throughout the entire year. And I would like to see them take cornerback just because they have they have a bigger need at cornerback than they do at linebacker. So I would go with cornerback at 21 and probably linebacker later in the second round, because I think that Nakobe Dean could slip and they could trade up. 22, the Packers. The receivers, I can guarantee you, I've picked how many receivers? I've picked 1, 2, 3, 4. I've picked 4 receivers just in the top 20, and I'm probably going to end up taking 4 more receivers within the next couple of picks, because there are a lot of quarterback needy teams, and there are a lot of good receivers in this class that probably would go in the late first round. Like you got, I'll just show you by drafting the players. We're gonna go with George Pickens. I really think that George Pickens, he was the one regret that I had in my top 50. I forgot to put him in, and I would have put him in the 40 range, the 40-30 range. George Pickens was receiver 1 out of the class this year, coming into the year, but he did tear his ACL. But he ended up coming back in the national championship, had a 150-yard catch. He will be healthy for the next year, and I could see him sneakily being in the first round just because he had that ability in 2020 at Georgia. The Cardinals, they're having some issues with Kyler Murray, but I would go with cornerback here. They missed out on cornerback last year, but Kyler Gordon and Kyrie Elam are kind of in the same boat as with me, and I think Roger McCreary goes before Tariq Woolen. but let's go with Kyler Gordon. The Cowboys at 24, probably going to go with George Karlaftis. He's the third edge for me. The Buffalo Bills, I think they can go two routes. It's receiver or cornerback. And then I think they go running back in the second round. Right now, I'm leaning towards receiver because they do have Stephon Diggs, but they don't have anybody else. Or they could go with cornerback, and they could solve that depth issue because Tre'Davious White got hurt, and then their secondary got a lot worse. But they do have that safety tandem in Buffalo. But I'm leaning towards receiver. You have to do everything to get Josh Allen better, get Josh Allen farther in the playoffs. He has that ability to. And the best receiver here for me is Jahan Dotson. The Tennessee Titans at 26, probably the linebacker, Devin Lloyd. And the Buffalo, what am I talking about? I'm on one today. The Buccaneers, this is best interior offensive lineman available. Other than Linderbaum, they don't need center. They have Jansen. So, gonna go with Kenyon Green. The Green Bay Packers are back up. I would probably go with Edge, Boye Mafe, or David Ajabo, but I think that they're in more of a win now. David Ajabo is going to go to a team who is not in a win now mode. Probably or I'll show you in the next couple of picks. I'll explain why. Chiefs, Christian Watson, and cornerback. Going to go with Kyrie Elam. And I'll explain these two picks now. Christian Watson blew up the combine. He's a great size. But he did play North Dakota State, and picking Division 2 or NCS receivers and skill position players is a bit of a question mark because they do play against lesser competition. But I mean, it's the Chiefs. If you get Christian Watson, that's a deadly duo for Patrick Mahomes because you get size and speed. Absolutely, that would be a sick combo, and I think that Christian Watson's best fit would be the Chiefs. And then I'm going to go with Kyrie Elam because they did lose Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious Ward, to the 49ers, and that brings up a need at cornerback. The Bengals, probably a BPA. I'm leaving off some pretty good guys here that are going to fall to the second round, like maybe Deontay Wyatt, who could go anywhere near probably the Packers, but that's okay. We're going on top needs. We're going on the philosophy of best position or BPA at position of need. That's kind of my philosophy. That's what I've been doing in almost all my mock drafts, but BPA could still be an issue. Anyways, the Bengals, this is best safety or best cornerback. You can't be throwing out Eli Apple out, so we're going to go with Roger McCreary. And the Lions, we're going to take a shot at David Ajabo because the Lions are not in a win-around mode, and edge is a need. They didn't pick edge at their second overall pick. They picked Sauce Gardner, and David Ajabo was my edge 5. He was even above Trayvon Walker for me, just on a production standpoint, as a potential standpoint as an edge rusher. And he did tear his Achilles at his pro day, but he definitely still has that potential. It's just that he is going to fall just because of injury, and he won't be available until much later in the year. So if you want to take a shot at a guy at 32, you could definitely take a shot. The Jaguars are up. This is best interior defensive line. This is going to be Deontay Wyatt. I think they got an incredible steal at 33. In this mock draft, I'm not picking interior defensive linemen as much as I probably should, or as probably much as they're going to go. But we've seen interior defensive linemen fall a little bit. Anyways, the Jaguars go with Deontay Wyatt at 33. He was the man next to the monster in Jordan Davis. Had arguably better production, even had more snaps and was very good in the pass as a pass rushing interior defensive tackle and athletic as well. The Lions, look, if Kenny Pickett falls to the second round, which he might, there aren't a lot of quarterback desperate teams right now because there have been so much quarterback movement. If he falls to 34, you could take a shot at Kenny Pickett. Jared Goff's contract could come off the books because there is an opt out next year, and if you want to take a shot at Kenny Pickett, who is pretty similar, if not like kind of he's a similar prospect to Joe Burrow in the fact that they have probably the same athletic ability if Kenny Pickett's not faster, and then they have similar arm talent. They have a similar red flag with their hand size, but Joe Burrow just has that football IQ and accuracy. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett has that has more of an arm than Joe Burrow did. But not to force that comparison, the Jets at 35. This pick could not even be here because they could trade for Deebo Samuel, and they could give up their two seconds and a third. But if they do have this pick, I could see them going with Lewis Seen or Tyler Linderbaum. But if Linderbaum falls, you're going to pick him. Connor McGovern's contract ends next year, and Tyler Linderbaum is probably the best center prospect we've seen in the last 5 years. And I would say that Creed Humphreys was in the same boat, but he fell all the way to the third round. Well, I thought he was going to be a early second round pick, and I can see Tyler Linderbaum at a position not of need, or not of need, but a less valuable position like center, falling to the second round, even though he is worth a first round pick, and I had him as a first round pick in my top 50 board. Giants back up. This is probably the best secondary pick, because I'm gonna be honest, I think they do lose. I think they lose James Bradbury, so I can see them going with the best secondary available. And it depends. Which one do you want to go with? Do you want to go with Dax Hill, who is probably a better like nickel high safety, or do you gonna want to go with Lewis Seen, who is probably a strong safety single high guy? It depends, because I don't know their defensive scheme now because they switched head coaches, and it also is an offensive coach. But I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to go with Dax Hill because they already have a kind of Lewis Seen guy in Xavier McKinney. The Texans at 37. They didn't pick quarterback. They could go with Desmond Ridder, but I see him falling possibly. And this is probably the best cornerback available, and we can go with Tariq Woodland. Cornerbacks go a lot higher than people think, usually, and I can see a lot of them going in the first round, second round. Jets back up, and this could be an interesting pick because I have two positions, POWs or PONs. You could go with Lewis Seen, or you could go with Nakobe Dean. Both of them are from Georgia. Both of them fit a position of need. Weak side linebacker has been kind of an issue for the Jets, but also safety has been an issue. But I'm going to go with Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean fits exactly what the Jets like. We saw Quincy Williams excel in that Nakobe Dean role, where he goes sideline to sideline, except Nakobe Dean is a good leader. He also can play in coverage extremely well, and he is just as fast as Quincy Williams. So I think if they get him at 38, that would be a steal and a half. The Bears at 39. They didn't have a first round pick because that was the Giants' pick. So probably their biggest position of need is offensive tackle, and then it would be receiver. They lost Allen Robinson. So I'd probably go with Sky Moore. I'm going to be honest. I think that receiver is a bigger need for them. The Seahawks at 40. This could be two picks, and I think that they should go with one over the other. I think they're good. They should go with Arnold Epiketti or Logan Hall over, and I would go with Logan Hall because I think that Logan Hall is just a tiny bit better than Epiketti in the fact that he's just more disruptive in the middle than the edge. Anyways, my point about them taking edge rusher is that they shouldn't be taking quarterback. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that Desmond Ritter is going to be like that great at the NFL level. I see him being like a Teddy Bridgewater ceiling kind of guy. And I think taking him too early is definitely a mistake. I think that the Seahawks should wait until next year where they have a really high pick and go with quarterback there. But they're back up on the board. And this move has to be probably interior defensive tackle, or yeah, I would go with interior defensive tackle. They're kind of lacking on that position. Perrion Winfrey is probably a steal at 41. I'm going to be honest. I'd see him going, argue maybe top 30s, maybe even high 20s at the most. Colts. This has got to be offensive tackle. Oh yeah, Bernard Raymond, Eric Fisher. You lost in free agency. One of your offensive tackles retired in 2020, and you need to help Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan's kind of going to be a statue in that pocket. At 43, this is where Ebiketie is going to go, and the Browns are on the board. This is probably best interior defensive tackle available, and that's going to be Travis Jones. I've really loved Travis Jones ever since I saw him at the Senior Bowl. Went to UConn. I'm a Connecticut guy. I did see him a little bit at UConn just because I was forced to watch that terrible UConn team. But anyways, he was the only the only relatively good player on that team. Dominant, probably going to be a second round pick. And I see him going to the Browns. I'm extremely high on Travis Jones. The Ravens, their biggest two needs are kind of off the board. Other than Tyler Smith, they went with Jordan Davis in their first pick, and I've seen their biggest two needs as interior offensive linemen and then interior defensive linemen. And if they can get those with their first two picks, and then they did a good job. The Vikings, I had them going cornerback with Derek Stingley. Now I'm gonna go with safety, and I'm gonna go Lewis Cine. I think that the second round is where safeties are gonna live. There are a lot of safety needy teams like the Jets, the Vikings, the Lions, the Giants. There are a lot of safety needy teams, even the Texans in the second round. And I could even go with safety again. We're gonna go with Jaquan Brisker for the Washington Commanders. They ended up cutting. Oh, who did they cut? They cut their safety. Oh, Jabril Peppers. They ended up cutting Jabril Peppers, so that leads them to have a need at safety. The Bears are back up at 48. Probably going to be the best offensive tackle available, and we're going to go with. I'm torn between Fa'alele and Piet Frey. Because Daniel Fa'alele is massive, but he's also like raw as hell. Played at Minnesota, or you could go with the Ohio State guy, but also like he's probably a third round projected tackle, or you can go with edge, but the edge rushers are starting to weaken, and your offensive line is terrible there. So I would go with Fa'alele. I would try to improve that offensive line as much as possible. I mean, Justin Fields is running for his life there, basically. The Saints are back up. This is another place where I can see someone going safety, and we're gonna go with Jalen Petrie, another Senior Bowl guy who I'm also very high on. I like his ability a lot as a high safety. high single one cover three safety. The Chiefs are back up. Probably it has to be the best edge available. The production of what's his name? Anyways, we're gonna go with I would say we're gonna go with Nick Bonito. The production of why am I forgetting his name? He was on the Seahawks and then he went to the Chiefs. One of the highest paid edge rushers. I'm trying to. Anyways, let me just talk about how edge is a need. Oh, Frank Clark. My bad. Okay, so Frank Clark's production is going down. You kind of have an edge need, but you do have Chris Jones. But Nick Bonito had the highest pressure rate out of anybody, or out of any edge rusher. He had the highest pressure rate, I think over 20%. And I think the Nick Bonito in the second round would be a really good pick for the Chiefs. And the Eagles are back up. Best edge rusher available, I would say. Cam Thomas and Zach Pascal are like literally neck and neck for me. I also like Drake Sanders or Drake Jackson and Maji Sanders. Let's go with Josh Pascal out of Kentucky, probably their best player out of the team last year. The Steelers back up. This is probably going to be best player available other than running back. Like a lot of running backs are falling, in my opinion. They're gonna. This is, I would say, safety's kind of off the boards, and cornerback might be off the board. So we're probably going to go with DeMarvin Leal. Not the interior defensive lineman, I don't think is as big as a need as like cornerback for them. But they could also go get Desmond Ridder. I don't know where Desmond Ridder goes. I don't know where Sam Howell goes in these mock drafts, I'm going to be honest. I was thinking about for the Packers, I'm going to go with Quay Walker. I think that Quay Walker goes a lot higher than I have him going, and he could probably go to the Patriots that were right after him. But Quay Walker at Georgia was their second most productive linebacker next to Nakobe Dean, but he probably projects just as similar to him, other than he's 6'3", 05, and he played a lot in coverage. He was their big coverage / run defending linebacker, strong side, or Sam or Mike, what I'm trying to say. So I do see him going a lot higher than 53. That's kind of low for him. The Patriots, if they don't address receiver, that's going to be bad. And I'm going to go with John Mechie. A lot of my Patriots friends have been like, dude, why is John Mechie always being mocked to us? And I could actually see John Mechie being not only being there at 54, but kind of fitting that Patriots mantra, where not that fast of a receiver, like a 4 or 5 guy, where he had like he had decent production, but was never the receiver one at their college, other than the one outlier being N'Keal Harry, who sucks. Anyways, the Cardinals are back up on the board. Probably gonna go with best receiver available. I'd go with Dave Bell. I see him being a borderline second round guy at Purdue. But you lose Christian Kirk, who got the worst contract possibly of all time, and try to help Kyler Murray, I guess. I don't know what his situation's going to be. He could either re-sign or he's going to be traded. Cowboys are up, and this could be definitely a BPA situation, where they just go with the best interior offensive lineman available, or the best not running back, linebacker. I don't know if they go linebacker, actually. I would go with either Slayer or Ryan And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't heard like anything about Sean Ryan in his draft, but I heard Slayer talked higher than being a second rounder. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even heard of Sean Ryan's name before now. Anyways, the Buffalo Bills are back up, and I'm gonna go with running back. I'm gonna go with running back, and that's gonna be Breece Hall, best running back in my opinion. Has good speed, good size, good downfield ability. Had a lot of good production at Iowa State, and the Falcons. I'm gonna go. This is where I'm gonna go with quarterback. We're gonna go with Matt Corral. He is my third quarterback, even though he had an injury in the bowl game. I think his potential is higher than Desmond Ritter, even though Desmond Ritter I think he's not the winningest quarterback of all time, but he never lost a home game, which is really cool. But also, I don't love his ability at the next level. I like the other quarterbacks a little bit better. Anyways, the Packers are back up at 59. That best defensive tackle probably will, or I could see them going with maybe even tight end or offensive tackle, but we'll go with Pierre Friette. I don't know. I don't really know what the Packers are going to do at 59, just because the board kind of didn't line up to where they wanted. The Buccaneers at 60. I can see them going with tight end. Yeah, actually, let's go with tight end. Because I don't see Gronk being around for too long. You lost, um, uh, you lost, wow, the, Alabama tight end. And, kind of have a need there now. The 49ers are back up at 61. And, I could see them being way higher up on the board just because Debo's not a 49er anymore. I'm going to be honest. And we're going to go with Darian Kinnard. I can see Cole Strange also going in this position. The Chiefs back up, had a lot of draft picks. Yeah, actually, I think we're going to go with Kenneth Walker. CEH was not a good pick at 32, and they kind of have a need at running back too, but they all like filter in guys a lot. But I'm just going to go with the running back at this point. Could be also a BPA. And with the Bengals back up, right now I'm thinking their biggest need is their defensive line. So I would go with defensive line and interior offensive line. But I don't think... Actually, yeah. I like Cole Strange a lot at this spot, but I don't know if he will. Or, actually, let's do it with this. Let's go with tight end. They lost to Uzama, so I think they could dress tight end in this position. We're going to go with Isaiah Likely. And with the last pick, we're going to go with the Broncos. And probably just BPA, pure BPA here. And that's probably going to be linebacker, I'm going to be honest. We're going to go with Chad Muma. And that's going to conclude the 2-round mock draft. A lot of players taken. And I'm going to be covering all of the draft. I'm going to be doing steals. I'm going to do the worst picks. I'm going to be grading picks. I'm going to be grading teams. And I'm excited for that. But the key takeaway from this mock draft should be, like, this draft is not set in stone at all. Like, a lot of things could happen. A lot of teams could move around the board. And it's going to be a really interesting draft. I think this could be one of the most chaotic drafts, most interesting drafts, just because of the quarterback class alone. Just because we don't know where a lot of players are even going to go. There are a lot of hypotheticals. So Just let that sit in. Don't let it intimidate you, be too intimidating where we don't. I can't determine what your team's gonna pick. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah.